Everything Suspect Podcast. It's your boy Billy D. You know how we do. Like, subscribe, hit the bell. Yo, I've been feeling bad, right? Because the last two podcasts that I've had, they've been on women. And I haven't really been giving women their props. It really was like going at them. From the WNBA Brittany Griner thing to the Ebony K. Williams thing, and some of the people who I talk to and who reach out to me about the podcast, I let them know like, yo, I can't do another podcast until I can like go at something different than women, preferably going at some dude topics, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't want it to start coming off as though I'm attacking women or like that's this platform and that's what we're doing. So I figured for the first time in a long time, I would do two topics in one about dudes. How about that? So you know how we do this, right? I gotta put a different twist than what everybody else is doing. So like bear with me as we break down Shannon Sharpe leaving and the Tyrese Gibson divorce. Now, as you know, on this, I try to take a different turn from what everybody else is talking about, you know, or the take on why Shannon left or why Tyrese is going through this or whatever, right? Like I always try to think outside of the box and come with the topic another kind of way. So when it comes to Shannon, I want to talk about the reasons why he left that nobody else is talking about. Some of the things that weighed on him heavier than Skip, right? Because there were some things. And when it comes to Tyrese, I just got some brotherly advice for Tyrese, man. And I feel bad for him. And I want to speak on the things that he's going through, not for Tyrese, but for brothers who go through what Tyrese is going through. Because what we're not looking at is the expectations that we put upon ourselves as men going into relationships, especially serious ones like marriage, right? So being a long time fan of Undisputed, well, I was a fan when it first started until I realized that like the topics didn't change much. They stay on the same stuff. And I found myself starting to hate watch Undisputed. I don't like the Cowboys, but I don't like the Cowboys because I don't like the Cowboys. I don't like the Cowboys because their fans are obnoxious for the most part. Same thing with LeBron. Don't have a problem with LeBron. I have a problem with LeBron's fans. And I just never cared about Tom Brady. I accepted Tom Brady's greatness the same way I accepted Michael Jordan's. I was never a Michael Jordan fan. I was a Charles Barkley fan. I was a Phoenix Sun fan growing up, you know, and I just knew we weren't going to win nothing because Jordan was in town. You know what I'm saying? Like he ran the league. And I look at Tom Brady the same way I look at Jordan back then. Like fourth quarter, he down by a touchdown. There's 2 minutes left. He's going to win, right? Like, but those ended up being the topics that were given over and over and over and over and over again, multiple times in the show on Undisputed. So I couldn't help but realize as I started watching it more and more and more that you could tell Skip was creating the topics. Even by the way, like, first of all, if you pay close attention, they're all done the same way. On a scale of 1 to 10, who's more to blame? What's the other one? He has like 3 things that he goes to when he Skip does that you can tell like the questions are always the same, and he is very, very lazy production. I've always felt as though he should really get some young cats in there that really know sports to really give them topics so they could really dig into like the nooks and crannies, because they've always been. And the reason why I didn't like it or I started to dislike it is because you can watch the changes that Stephen A made when Max Kellerman left. But what was dope is he had different topics. He wasn't just staying on one thing. And it sucked because you're in the same time slot, Undisputed and First Take is kicking your teeth in. At what point do you rip the draw cord and say, okay, we got to do something different? What are they doing different that they're beating us? And part of it has to be the topics, right? You have the pretty moderator that's knowledgeable. You have the entertaining personalities. So the only thing that's left is content. And your content gets stale. And in this day and age of creating content, you can't let it go stale. You can't talk about the same thing every day. And you could tell a lot of times that Shannon, what he towards the end, especially like in this last year, if you can go back and watch some of the film, he would really Skip. He would say that as soon as the question was asked by the moderator, and Skip would act like the moderator came, "Oh, that's a good question," but Shannon didn't have it to give. He just like, "So this is the topic, Skip. This is what we're gonna do." Really? And you could start to see that Shannon was getting tired of it, right? Now, there's no need to rehash and go into the whole Damar Hamlin thing or the Tom Brady's better than you, you're upset, put your glasses back on. Everybody's talking about that, right? Everybody's talking about those are the reasons why Shannon is leaving. And I'm sure they contribute, right? But that can't be everything. As I'm watching it, and as I watched it every single day, man, I started to see like the deterioration, not just from those moments, but from other things that were happening around. So for instance, I was just in Atlanta for Memorial Day weekend, and me and my brother, my homeboy slash brother, we both trade opinions on Undisputed and the topics. And it was right around the time when Shannon went off on Kwame Brown for his opinion on what LeBron should have been doing to win the game when they got eliminated. So when that topic came and was presented on Undisputed, I said to myself, and I asked my homie, why would Skip give that topic? I prayed that that was a topic that Shannon finally got through, right? Because the way Shannon hit it, it made me feel as though he wanted to bring it to the show so he could call out Kwame. And until this day, right, we don't know, we'll never know at this point, you know, whatever. But just knowing the situation and knowing that Skip makes all the topics, or at least has the final say, I thought to myself, is Skip trying to like start something with Kwame Brown and Shannon? Because Skip ain't gonna take the bait, but he knows that anybody coming at LeBron, Shannon's gonna beeline him. He's gonna take him out. And for anybody to know the way that Kwame Brown moves and how he gets on that internet and goes at anybody who, he is the Tupac of the internet of podcasting. Like anybody coming at him, anybody say his name, anybody going anything, if it ain't about positive for him, that he's coming at your neck, there's nothing you can do about it. He's going to be way more disrespectful than you could ever be to him. So why would you sign up for that as Shannon Sharpe? So that really made me feel as though is Skip lining up Shannon? And then a week later, or wherever we are now, you know what I'm saying? Here it is. But things like that, I think, weighed on Shannon. I think Kwame calling him out like that weighed on him. Both of them being from Georgia, I think that had a lot to do with it. Let's talk about the man that Shannon is, right? He comes off as a real genuine dude. He comes off as a person who believes in community. He's proud to be a black man. Being in the Hall of Fame, you can really, really tell that that's one of his biggest accomplishments. And he loves being around those group of brothers that are also football players and that are all, and especially ones that are in the Hall of Fame. The fact that he didn't show up to work after the Damar Hamlin thing shows you the love that he has for football players, right? So when you take that into consideration, you also have to take into consideration the way he's looked at. I believe he cares about the way he's perceived by his counterparts. Last or some months back, Ed Reed was trying to take a job at a HBCU. Ed Reed's in the Hall of Fame. Great corner. They had that topic presented on Undisputed. Shannon didn't agree with the way Ed moved on his social media, called him out. Next thing you know, Ed's coming at his throat, calling him out on the internet, all kind of stuff. And Shannon couldn't really respond, I think, the way he wanted to respond, because he was on that TV show. But he was only giving his opinion, right? Then you look at him. He comes off as a humble dude. I remember seeing a video of him like showing up to an airport with his little baby dogs in his hand, and he's just walking through, and there's a dude just camera in his face the whole time. Didn't speak to him, didn't say, hey, who you got for the game, anything. Hey, nice to meet you. Can I get a... Didn't want a selfie, didn't want to talk to him, didn't want to shake his hand. He just wanted video of Shannon Sharpe walking out of a gate going to baggage claim. And Shannon did everything he could to ignore him, to like, bro, really? Is this what we're doing? And dude said, yeah, this is exactly what we're doing. and it was nothing Shannon could do. He had to walk it off, right? So when you take into consideration, right, stuff like him going to a basketball game and getting into it with the entire basketball, they have to stop the game because Shannon Sharpe is ready to fight over talking trash to the Memphis Grizzlies at a LA game in LA. I don't think he was proud of himself in that moment. I think when he woke up that next morning, he felt some kind of way. I want to say he got on TV and actually apologized for his actions. And then recently, his house being broken into. And let's even back up. I was listening to a podcast recently with Plexico Burris and LeVar Arrington and the TJ Cat, and they were talking about Shannon Sharpe for one time. Oh, it was the Kwame Brown and Shannon Sharpe beef, right? So they played a little bit of what Shannon said, they played a little bit of what Kwame said, and then they just had this moment where they just went off on... It's really weird how much Shannon, as an incredible tight end, as a grown man in his 50s, fanboys over LeBron. Like, that shit is weird. It's really, really weird. So I think, man, you take all these things, right? You add them together, and his house has got broken into. And you can't help but think that if he was just regular old Shannon Sharpe, Hall of Fame, everything, and you just remove his status as Shannon Sharpe on Undisputed, if he was never on Undisputed, I think, man, as a man, I'm being pestered at the airport. I'm being called out by other football players who are in the Hall of Fame that I have respect for. I'm being disrespected on the internet by dudes, you know what I'm saying, because of my takes on a TV show, and they're being really disrespectful. My house is getting broken into. I don't think people would be breaking into my house if I just retired a long time ago and I've just been enjoying my retirement. And now I have a podcast of 3 football players talking about, dog, it's weird because he's one of my favorite players of all time and he's just a super fan for another dude. That's enough. Outside of Skip and the ass that Skip is, that would make a man, I believe, with Shannon Sharpe's credentials and personality and values to be like, I think I need to fall back. Fame is a little bit too much. This persona that I have to have is weighing on me so heavy that I might need to quit. The fact that he's being bought out also is a whole other thing, right? Because that means, of course, my takes aren't everything. I know Skip has something to do with it. But what I don't appreciate is that they're just making it about the beef in the media, when I also believe that there are personal issues going on in the way that he's perceived and the way that he's treated now. I think it was just too much fame. I think the fame had just as much to do with him wanting to quit as Skip did. And the fact that they're granting him a buyout lets you know that he's been trying to get out of it for a long time. Or, this isn't a sudden thing, especially with them. So for all these cats out here talking about he's going to go to ESPN, Fox is not going to let a man out of their contract, one of their biggest draws on their TV, on their channel, or on their network, to go to the competition. That doesn't happen. So he won't be on ESPN. It's just stop it. I know what Stephen A said. They're cutting millions and millions of dollars in jobs over at ESPN. I know they would love to have Shannon Sharpe. But the truth of the matter is, he has a non-compete, or allegedly. I'm going to say allegedly. I have a business degree. I did pretty well. Graduated kind of high in my class. Summa cum laude. Let's go. And guess what? He will have a non-compete. There is a non-compete in that buyout. In that buyout, I can guarantee you there's something in the literature that says you can go, but you can't go to CBS, you can't go to ESPN, you can't go to the NFL network, you can't do, there's a whole lot of places. If you're going to leave us, you can't go with them. Okay? So let's stop it. Stop. You're not going to see him nowhere else. But what you will see him on is Club Shay Shay, because what you don't know is that a lot of times when they give these personalities these podcasts are not owned by Shannon Sharpe, Skip Bayless, Stephen A. Smith. If they have jobs on major networks, their podcasts are owned by the network. They want all the content, dude. You can't just be a free agent over here but also get paid over here by ESPN and Disney. That's not how it works. All of the content is proprietary. McDonald's has a clause in place where if you are flipping burgers at McDonald's and on your lunch break you make a really great sandwich that is not on the menu, and then this starts becoming your sandwich, yo man, I just came up with a sandwich, and then you try to get it patented, guess what? McDonald's will own that burger. McDonald's don't let their workers create something that they don't own if you work for McDonald's. So what makes you think Disney and Fox would allow this man to have that much free range? They gave him Club Shay Shay. Club Shay Shay was Fox News. That was not Fox News, Fox Sports. That was their show. They are letting him walk away with it, which only lets me believe he took a serious pay cut to keep that show. He had to. But we're all talking about contracts. Nobody knows what's in the contracts, but I'm, just from what I know about these situations, he's going to be independent for a while. I'm sure his non-compete will not last forever, so he might end up somewhere else. But for now, you're not going to see him popping up on any other TV shows or any other networks. It's not going to happen. He'll focus on Shay Shay. He'll get thrown a whole lot of other stuff, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, you're not going to see him on anything soon that is of a big platform. Now, the final straw for Tyrese. Oh man, Tyrese. So for those who don't know, he's going through his divorce finally, because I believe he's been divorced since 2020 or something like that. But he finally got to court. He was owed, or he was told to pay like $237,000 in back child support, and then like close to $400,000 for his wife's attorney fees. For anybody who's been following this case, everybody knows he's been online. He was upset with the judge that he had in court. He wanted people to come down and protest and do all the things because he felt like he was being treated unfairly. He got online and talked for 30 minutes on how he didn't know who his wife was, and he don't know why she left him. And he let her go and spend time with her mom, even though her mom was a person who's been divorced several times and didn't want to see her marriage survive. And now he's just by himself, and he just doesn't understand why he doesn't get a fair shot at love and court and child support and husband, and just a man being treated unfairly. Damn. Typically, these kind of situations, I would be a person who would go hard at defending Mr. Gibson. But I don't. I don't feel bad for Tyrese. And I'm going to tell you why. And this ain't for Tyrese. This is for the young men out there who are coming up, who want to get married, who want to have kids, men who are currently going through breakups, men who are in court fighting for their children, fighting for their livelihood as a woman tries to take it from them. Those who are not in court but still in the house and trying to make it work, or trying not to break up, or all the things, right? Because Tyrese is a piece of all of that, right? Tyrese is every man when it comes to breakup. He knows what it is to be divorced. He knows what it is to lose his kid. He knows what it is to be separated. He knows what it is to, be treated unkind and unfair, for a woman just to flip and leave, for, him to be made to look like the abusive person, for him to be made to look like the crazy person. Like, he is all of the things, right, that men go through. But here's the problem I have with Tyrese. Man, pay attention. He was $237,944 behind in child support. So in order for me to feel sorry for him, his child support has to be $237,944 a month. Okay? And it wasn't. His child support was like $10,000, right up under $11,000, closer to 11 than it is 10, right? So if you ain't paid child support and it accumulates to almost $250,000 and it's $10,000 a month, your credit's no good here, sir. I'm sorry. As a man who paid child support, who got ran through in court, no. See, what Tyrese has to know and what he needs to accept is that nobody feels sorry for you. What he needs to understand is that the courts are structured for the woman to win in most cases. I'll tell you about my case a little bit. I was in the military, wasn't making a lot of money, and the money that I was making, it was given to me because I had a child. And when I went to court, the military paid me a little bit more money because I had a kid, so I couldn't stay in the dorms, right? And because I couldn't stay in the dorms, the money that was allocated to me, that was to go directly towards rent. So when my child support case came up, they counted my house money as income. They weren't supposed to do that. So I'm begging and pleading, like, listen, you don't understand, like, I'm different, you know what I mean? Like, the money, you're counting this money, but this money is for me to live, because I can't live because I have a child. So, like, you can't take child support out of my house money. It's supposed to be based on my base pay. Nah, bruh. No. So the court said, well, let's hold off. Let's wait. We'll come back. We'll figure this thing out. But my child support agent, because child support agents get promoted according to the money that they're able to take in from the fathers that are on child support. and mothers, but mostly fathers. So instead of this man waiting for the next court date, he put a garnishment on my military pay for what I was trying to fight against. And boom, I look up, my money's gone. I don't have enough money to pay my rent because he set the garnishment. I was so angry. I went to the child support agency and called that man. I need you to come out here right quick. Like, I was ready to fight this dude. You know what I'm saying? Ultimately, in my case, I had to get out the military. Just because the courts were unwilling to understand my position, and it was either continue to not be able to make child support or get out and make real money so I can take care of my kids. So I couldn't even finish my military career because child support basically forced me out. So I don't feel bad for Tyrese. Even when I was on child support and I couldn't make it, I made it. It wasn't $10,000 for sure, but money is relative. So what you can't have is call into action people to come down here and protest for you because you ain't paying your child support or because you feel like you're not being treated fairly in court, my dude. That's not how this thing works. So I don't feel bad for Tyrese. Also, when you look at, and this kind of like guides into the next part of what I find wrong with Tyrese, and that is you can't win, you can't beat a woman at their game, and that's all he's been trying to do. Let me break this down for you. And young men, pay attention. We see Nas, he went through child support. He was getting hammered, mad divorce. He really got taken to the dryer or to the cleaners. He got taken to the dryer and the cleaners. Dr. Dre went through his divorce. He got smashed. You know what I'm saying? Like, all of these celebrities, you see all these men, but I use them specifically because they're in the same industry as Tyrese. Did you see Nas crying online for money? Did you see Dr. Dre going live talking about the trash that his wife is on? You see Russell Simmons when he was going through it? You see any of these dudes asking for a call to action from other men or the public or the internet to help them out of their problem? No. The media reported on it, but these dudes head down, took the punches, went to court, took the L, paid the money, and now look, they're good, they're straight, and they did it like men. They did it, they move like men are supposed to move. You know the court says against you. You know they're going to give that woman what she's supposed to have or what she thinks she's supposed to have. You know you're going to take the L. You know you're going to take the L. Why are you complaining? Why are you crying? Why do you want people to come to your you know what I'm saying, defense? Nobody's coming to save you. I remember like watching the Chris Rock, and I hope I got it right. I remember watching the Chris Rock special, and he was like, dude, you ever seen like the homeless men out there and they got a dog? People feel bad for the dog, and it's hilarious. Like, nobody cares about a man when it comes to this kind of stuff, bro. But here's the problem with Tyrese. He's trying to beat a woman at her own game. So when you get online or when you go live, and I'm sure he started off as the man, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, you attracted her because of who you are. You're Tyrese. You're the singing, chocolate, sexy dude, you know what I'm saying? Masculine, you know what I mean? And take care of the, you know, romantic type nigga, and you know what I'm saying? And then the next thing you know, you popping up crying online. When you stop being the thing that attracted that woman, they start losing respect for you. They say they want vulnerability, And I haven't figured this thing out yet, but I don't believe when women say they want vulnerability that they want that kind of vulnerability. I don't think they want vulnerability at all, honestly. I think they want to fall in love with whatever they fell in love with, and they don't want you to never change. And they can be able to do whatever it is they want to do, and nigga, you gotta stand strong and put up with it. That's honestly how I believe it is. But if you make a move like what Tyrese is doing, where he's getting online and going live, and like, I did this for her and I did that for her, and then she just left me, y'all, and I don't know what I'm gonna do, and she did me so dirty, and blah 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 blah. I'm like, bro, like, nobody cares. But more importantly, this is what she should be doing, not you. You're supposed to be the solid, the lead, the rock, the foundation. You can't move off of how you was when you came in. You can grow, and you can try to bring your woman to grow with you. But what you can't do is start, like, if she's so now when you're saying, like, I was emotionally abused, she used me. When you start saying stuff like that, that's what women say. You know what I'm saying? And guess what? You'll never be able to out-emotion a woman. Even if the woman is being more emotionally abusive to you than you are to her, you are still the person who is solely responsible. She can have it. You can't. It's innately expected for a woman to believe the man is going to man up. Sorry. It is what it is. You can't come in masculine and leave out feminine. You can't do it. So, what am I saying? In all situations, as men, we have to be able to stay consistent. And when we start to appear to be non-consistent, females that look to us to be their men look at us differently. Also, we have to be aware of how much is too much. Whether it's what we're giving to a person or what is given to us. In Shannon's position, he was given too much. In Tyrese's position, he gave too much. And when he couldn't give more and he switched up, she left. When Shannon got too much, it overwhelmed him. He had to fold. So in all things, fellas, what is important how we do is move from a source of consistency, of confidence, and keep your masculinity intact by all means. Because when you fold, they get rid of you. Y'all chill.
Everything Suspect Podcast.